Hi, Andy XL back with another NFXL podcast as I continue to work down the 32 teams in the NFL as to who's got the best chance of success next season. I've given you my three favourites, the eight teams who made the postseason last season who could still be a threat next season, and four who didn't make the postseason but I think could be a serious improvers next season. Now, in this piece, I'm going to go through the next seven who I see as teams who could make the postseason but are unlikely to be real challenges to win it all next season. I'll go through these alphabetically. So let's start with the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons got their act together too late to claim a modest NFC South last season, and next season the South will be the inverted brackets easiest NFC division to win once more. So, what steps have the Falcons taken to climb the ladder in 2026? Well, out have gone quarterback Kirk Cousins, running back Tyler Algier, linebacker Caden Ellis, cornerback D. Alford, with with Tua Tagovailoa, Brian Robinson, Christian Harris were brought in to replace the first three in free agency, where the Falcons added another dozen of note, including right tackle Jawan Taylor, defensive tackle Mason Smith and Samson Ebukam, and Aziz Ojolari at edge, Austin Hooper at tight end, and Olamide Zacchaeus and Jahan Dotson at wide receiver. In the draft, Terrell was added to join his big bro in the Falcons secondary. Wide receiver Zach Branch, linebackers Kendall Daniels and Harold Perkins look the most likely to make an impact in 26. The Falcons' strength last season was their run offense led by the superb Bijan Robinson. With Brian Robinson being pretty much a like-for-like replacement for Algier, they could have a top 10 run attack again this season. The pass offense ranked 22nd in the league. Indifferent quarterback play and Drake London missing 5 games hurt them, but London and Kyle Pitts plus Bijan out of the backfield are still pretty much all they have. They are all very good, but the lack of depth still looks likely to stop the Falcons being a top half pass offense this coming season. On defense, they ranked 17th against the pass and 14th against the run. Mason Smith will help that run defense move up a notch or two. They had a highly effective pass rush last season, so it is on the secondary to improve if they are to move up the rankings in that area. But whichever of Tua Tagovailoa or Michael Penix wins the quarterback role will hold the key to how much improvement we see from the Falcons next season. As I said, indifferent quarterback play hurt them last season, and Penix was partly responsible for that. It would only take a little improvement, though, to win this division, but overall, making the postseason looks the best the Falcons can hope for next term. Right, next up alphabetically, the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens had somewhat of a down season in 2025, leaving the door open for the Steelers to walk through and take the divisional title and the one spot to the postseason from the AFC North last season. So have the Ravens taken the right steps to improve on their 8-9 record of last time, and in order to firstly regain that divisional title and then to be a true contender come the postseason? Now, losing centre Tyler Linderbaum is a huge step backwards for their O line. Edge rusher Draymond Jones, tight ends Isaiah Likely and Charlie Kolar, plus safety Aloe Gilman, and lower profile but big role players like fullback Patrick Ricard and punter Jordan Stout were other steps in the wrong direction for the Ravens in free agency. But they did bring in Trey Hendrickson and Calais Campbell to more than cover the loss of Jones on the edge, Jaden Hawkins to replace Gilman, and drafted punter Ryan Eckley to replace Stout. That leaves them looking weaker at the heart of their O-line and also at tight end. Having said that, the free agents additions of John Simpson and first rounder Vega Ioane at guard may take some of the pressure off Corey Bullock as he is asked to fill the huge void left by Linderbaum's departure. But we saw with the Detroit Lions, for instance, last year that how big the loss of Frank Ragnow was for them, and I fear the same could be true of Linderbaum's departure in Baltimore. If they can see a good second-year progression from Tez Walker and draftees Jacoby Lane and Elijah Sarrett also improve their wide receiver core, that could offset the loss of those two tight ends, though, Isaiah Likely and Charlie Kolar. But Kolar and Ricard's blocking abilities will also be greatly missed and could hinder the Ravens' ground offense as a result. When fully healthy, their defense should be capable of being a top 10 unit next season, but the offense may struggle to reach the second in the league ranking that it achieved last season. And the passing game, which ranked 24th last year, does not look likely to make significant improvement and be a top half ranked unit. The defensive improvements may be enough to get them to 10 or 11 wins and maybe a divisional title, but I doubt they have enough on offense to make a serious challenge in the postseason. Right. Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals have the big name, high profile stars, but consistently fall short year after year at the levels many expect them to achieve. Not the stars, that is, but the team in general. So, can they change that narrative in 2026? So, losing star edge rusher Trey Hendrickson plus Joseph Adai from the same part of the roster leaves them plenty of work to do to replenish that pass unit. Boye Mafe via free agency and Cassius Howell were the only moves they made to address this. And for a team that ranked 27th against the pass last season, this potentially weaker pass rushing unit puts huge pressure on a secondary that also came up short in 2025. Unless last year's first round draft pick, Shamar Stewart, take a huge step upwards in 2026. Brian Cook was a strong addition at safety. They also added Carl Duggar, then drafted Takario Davis to help them in the secondary. They also ranked 26th against the run last season, but have added both Dexter Lawrence and Jonathan Allen, who will improve them in that regard, and also to agree in the pass rushing environment. I am I'm unconvinced, though, the off-season has done enough that the Bengals can be a top half defense, particularly against the pass, to succeed in 2026. On offense, they've made very few changes to a pass unit that ranked fourth in the league last season, whilst the run offense ranked a lowly 26th. And that O line is an issue regarding the run there again, and maybe in pass protection. Yes, I know Joe Burrow missed half of last season, but seeing as the pass offense still ranked highly without him, there's not a lot of room for improvement to be gained here by his return. When you have the dynamic pass offense the Bengals have, that can be enough to win any game. But overall, whilst the additions of Cook, Lawrence, and Allen help them on defense, they still look like a team that was substandard overall on D and way over reliant on Chase Brown at running back. So for me, are another team that may be able to do enough to get beyond week 18 and to be dynamic enough to beat anybody if they got there, but not to have enough all round strengths to consistently deliver and therefore win it all. So I'll move on to the next team, the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings came into this season with plenty of work to do if they are to win what will be a highly competitive NFC North in 2026. Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave have both gone as a changing of the guard on the Vikings D line takes place. Jalen Naylor also leaves, with Juan Jennings joining Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison to form one of the very best wide receiver trios, if not the best in the league. Caleb Tiernan by the draft enhances the Vikings O line. So whoever wins the quarterback battle between new addition Kyler Murray and JJ McCarthy will have every opportunity to shine for a pass offense that looks much better than the 29th ranking they got last season. Much, much better, I should say. But they've done little to augment a run offense that ranked a lowly 21st last season. That youthful D line with the first round draft pick Caleb Banks and third rounder Dominique Orange joining Jalen Redmond will be tasked with better in the 15th ranking they achieved for run defense last season. Pass defense was the Vikings' strongest area last season, where they ranked second, and the same unit is back for this season, with James Pierre also coming in alongside draft additions Jacoby Thomas and Charles Demings. They're probably even stronger and deeper in that area. Inside linebacker Jake Golday was a notable draft addition there too. And this defense has plenty of useful potential allied to veterans like Andrew Van Ginkel and Eric Wilson. So they should be a top 10 defense overall and be particularly strong against the pass. And with that pass offense firing, they look well capable of improving on their 9 wins of last season and in do so make the postseason. But asking this young defense to push them late into the postseason and a lack of powerful running game may cost them come the playoffs, though. Right, next up, alphabetically, the New York Jets. The Jets are a team that ranked 31st for pass offense, 30th for run defense, 25th for pass defense, and 15th for run offense last season, and have been a bit of a laughing stock of the league for a few years now. So for them to make the postseason will require a major overhaul that results in a vast all-round improvement next season. So Elijah Vera Tucker and John Simpson have gone from that O-line, whilst Quincy Williams was the most notable defensive departure. Dylan Parham joins what should still be a pretty good O-line next season, whilst draftee Omar Cooper will provide some much-needed support for Garrett Wilson at wide receiver and for rejoining quarterback Geno Smith to work with. Behind that O-line, Brees Hall and Braylon Allen, who only made 4 games last season, Allen, that is, could give them a top 10 pass offense. Sorry, a top 10 run offense. Smith at quarterback and Cooper at wide receiver could also allow their pass offense to move up to somewhere near being a top 20 unit too. But it is on defense that a lot of work was required, and the Jets have certainly made plenty of moves to meet that need. David Onyemata, Joseph Adai, and Kingsley Anikbare arrive as pass rushers alongside first-round draft pick David Bailey to join Will McDonald, which should completely transform a pass unit that only produced 23 sacks last season, 8 of those from McDonald. In the secondary, Minka Fitzpatrick, Nashawn Wright, and second-round draft pick D'Angelo Pons will upgrade that a good deal too. And I would not be surprised if the Jets have a top half-ranked ranked pass defense as a result, maybe even better. And the work carried on on the defensive side as Tafondre Sweat and fourth-round draft pick Darrell Jackson came in at defensive tackle, whilst their inside linebacker group is joined by Demario Davis, I should say. So an improvement in their pass defense could well be seen too. Better in every area and much better in some. The Jets that looks to have a shot at making the postseason, but for me still look a draft or two away from being real contenders for titles. Next up, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Finally, Aaron Rodgers tells us all he will be back for another season as the Steelers quarterback. Last season, the Ravens and Bengals left the door open for Pittsburgh to take the AFC North title. They need to improve this season to just retain that title, as the Ravens and Bengals are unlikely to give them as easy a time, and certainly to be more of a threat if they did make the postseason. Guard Isaac Samalo was a notable free agent lost for the miss off-season. Running back Kenny Gainwell also moved on to pastures new, as did cornerback James Pierre. First rounder Max Iheanacho and third round pick Jennings Dunker certainly should make up for the loss of Sam Marlowe and maybe more, whilst Rico Dowdle is also a potential upgrade on somebody who was 1,000-yard scrimmage yard man sneakily last year, Kenny Gainwell. But Dowdle's still a potential upgrade on him. And with Jaquan Brisker and Jamal Dean joining another day two draft edition. Sorry, I'll start that paragraph again. And with Jaquan Brisket and Jamal Dean joining another day two draft edition in Dalen Everett in the secondary, the loss of Pierre is well and truly covered off. Other notable incomings, a second-round draft pick Jeremy Bernard to join big free agent addition Michael Pittman to go with DK Metcalf, and Caden Wetjen, who could be a real weapon as a kick returner in particular rather than a wide receiver. So the Steelers should be better than they were last season, and it will be a big three-way battle with the Ravens and Bengals for the AFC North title in 2026. But I'm still not sure that any of them have enough to threaten the best teams come the postseason. So the final team in this piece are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, a combination of injuries and failure to win big in-division games in weeks 14 through 16 of the regular season cost the Bucs a divisional title and a postseason berth in 2025. Stalwarts wide receiver Mike Evans and cornerback Jamal Dean have moved on. Running back Rashad White and defensive lineman Logan Hall has also left this off-season. Jalen McMillan and/or newly drafted Ted Hurst will need to cover off the loss of Evans. Kenny Gainwell replaces White at running back. Ben Morrison has the big shoes of Jamal Dean to fill, whilst Ashawn Robinson is the replacement for Logan Hall. Other notable new recruits for the Bucs include O-lineman Justin School and Billy Schrouth from the draft that gives the Bucs greater O-line depth than than last season, which is an area that really hurt them. Raheem Nunes Roches on the edge, Alec Anzalone and Christian Roseboom at inside linebacker, Alquan Mohammed, another edge rusher from outside linebacker, plus Miles Killebrew and Keontae Scott at safety are the other key additions. Replacing quality players like Evans and Dean in particular was a tough ask, but in terms of volume of additions, the Bucks have done good work this off-season. Question is, can they remain a top half passing offense? Gainwell could see their run offense improve from its 21st ranking the last season, whilst their run defense was top 10 last season and should be again next season. And the pass defense could be better than its 25th ranking the last season, despite the loss of Dean. All of which should make them possibly favourites to win a weakish NFC South, but any more than that looks unlikely to me. So there you are. There's 7 teams that I think could make the postseason, but that's probably the height of their ambition. The remainder of the teams, well, I've got 8 more that I think I'm terming as being 17 and done, i.e., they'll play the regular season and then be off for their holidays. And then I'll come back with the final 2 teams that are going to be vying for the 2027 first pick in the draft. So I'll come back with those in my next piece or pieces. So I'll see you soon. Take care.